A good man is not going to dance around answers or make excuses. If there's something you two need to talk about, he will have the courage, the courtesy, and the respect for you to sit down and talk about it.
Preach! That's what I'm talking about. That is author, speaker, and coach James Michael Sama talking about the 10 ways you know you are dating a gentleman. And trust me, before I finally got a boyfriend, this guy was my main man, online at least, but I was just one of many for him. Roughly 450,000 followers he's got, and for the next few minutes, we get him all to ourselves. Please welcome James Michael Sama. Thank you for coming back to the show.
It's always so good to see you, Courtney.
So much to talk about. You've had 38 million views on your blog. So I know your blog has evolved. Where are we at now?
So essentially the blog is really focused on helping people live more fulfilled, happier, healthier lives in all aspects of life. Not just relationships, but even just being happy and healthy in their own selves.
And just as you have evolved and your blog has evolved, masculinity has evolved. It's kind of a hot topic right now. So where was it? Where are we going?
I feel like the traditional view of masculinity is, and I know we're going to get into some of the examples of this, like, and I'll get in a lot of trouble for this, but I'm going to say it anyway. You know, sort of the chest bumping, beer chugging,
yeah.
Right? The guys that just have to be a man's man, you know. But that came with a lot of problems because people weren't expressing their thoughts, they weren't communicating, they weren't connecting, and there were a lot of negatives along with the positives.
And we have the thing of boys don't cry. We don't hear that. I love this scene from we have analyzed this. Let's take a look at this.
Strange. I spent the first half of my life not wanting to walk in his footsteps. Now I only wish I could.
So, throughout the whole movie, De Niro was trying not to cry and breaks down. I mean, that is kind of what it was. You have to hold it together. You know, you can't show your emotions.
Right.
And it's changing a little bit. You've said in your blog you can be masculine and kind, masculine, show emotion. Where do these ideas come from, and how do you kind of come up with some of the topics that you put out there?
Well, you know, it really, and the whole blog started just through personal experience and ways that I saw my father act, and my grandfather was more of that
guy,
stern,
yes,
right,
yes.
you know? Whereas my dad, you know, taught me a lot how to communicate and treat people around me.
Well, what about the Gillette ad? Because the whole boys will be boys idea is being shaken. And you said if you're offended, you're part of the problem.
Yeah, I made some waves with that article.
Yeah, I'm sure.
But, you know, that Gillette ad was just telling people to be better to each other. It was, you know, breaking up fights. It was not harassing women. It was common decency. So the people that came out and were offended and said, you know, we can't be men anymore, obviously, or whatever, if they're holding on, if your idea of masculinity is harassing women, if it's bullying people, if it's getting in needless fights, then you are part of the problem.
If it's not being able to control your sexual urges, if it's being the creepy dude at the gas station, you know who you are yesterday, then you are part of the problem. So thank you again for joining us. I appreciate it. Make sure you check him out at James M. Sama on pretty much all social media platforms. Thank you.